Across centuries and across cultures, there are millions of stories about women who steal children. Yes. And what we, over time, these stories have been told so often and they've branched off and they've really become their own thing, and we have forgotten to remember that all of those women were actually the same woman, the skeleton woman. And this is her story. In a tiny hut about 2 hours out of the woods, a young girl who was not yet a woman pulled on her dead father's breeches and tied him tight with a rope. Every morning, the first thing she did is went out into her garden. It was a riot of color, vegetables and fruit trees and flowers like a jewel box. And she would spend her first few minutes of the morning going to each leaf one by one, and she would lift it, peek underneath. And when she got lucky, she found it. A papery present, a cocoon. And when she got really lucky, she would see 2 antennae and some spindly legs. And on those days, she would be very patient. It sometimes took all day. But if she was patient enough, she would just plop down in the dirt and she would watch. And she could see the body and the wrinkled wings emerge of a brand new butterfly. She recognized every butterfly that came into her garden. The red ones, the black ones, the yellow ones, the blue ones. And she knew that if she dipped her finger in some honey water and held very, very still and pretended not to be there, sometimes they would come and say hello. Now, this is how she started every morning, except for her favorite morning of the year. That was the morning of the fall feast. Now, on the day of the fall feast, people from all over would gather in this one clearing in the woods to trade and to break bread together and to dance. And she loved to dance. She lived to dance. You could say that dance was maybe her vice. Maybe that's what the story is about tonight. And on those mornings, when the day of the fall feast would break, she and her mother used to go out into the garden. They would gather the last of all the summer blooms, those last brilliant colors of summer. And they would take them on that long walk all the way to the clearing in the woods, and they would trade. Well, her mother died last year, and so this is her first year making the trip on her own. The day of the fall feast breaks. She goes out in the garden, gathers those last summer blooms, and makes the long trek into the woods. And as she goes, she laughs, and she dances, she sings, and she sways, because her mother had taught her to grow things, to trade, and that time passes. So you might as well dance as it does, right? So the time passes quickly. She gets into the clearing in the woods. The trading goes well, and then things get really good. The moon rises over the treetops. The bonfire was lit, and the music began. She stepped into a corner of the clearing, and she had learned to dance from the butterflies. Her mom had taught her, right, to trade and to grow things, but dancing, she learned from her butterflies. So she steps into a corner of the clearing, and her arms flap, and she leaps through the air, and her legs went spindly, and a little boy with bright green eyes was looking at her like, "Can I dance with you?" And she said, "I would love to dance with you." And they laughed as they danced. They sang and they swayed, and all night long the other children joined in. Butterfly lady, dance with me, butterfly lady, until the next day broke. And as she was gathering her things that she had traded for, some cured meat, a pot of honey, a bolt of cloth, the things that she would need to make it through the summer, she heard whispers behind her. And she stood. And there, standing there, was a man who was very tall, and his hair was so blonde it was almost silver. I said, "What kind of dancing is that anyway?" She said, "Well, I learned it from the butterflies." "Butterflies?" And he turned to some folks standing around, and they laughed with him. "You mean bugs?" She said, "Well, yeah, I guess butterflies are bugs, but bugs are beautiful too." Do you hear that, everybody? She thinks bugs are pretty. She's a bug lover. Bugs are stupid and ugly, just like that dance you do, bug girl. Her heart, she felt a pain right over her heart as if she had been struck there. The man turned and left, and she gathered her things and made the long walk home. When she got home, she set everything down, unbuttoned her blouse, and sure enough, spread across her chest right over her heart, a speckled blue bruise. She lay down and cried herself to sleep. Time passed. Time always passes, and bruises fade. And when the day of the next fall feast broke, she went into the garden and gathered the last of the summer blooms and packed them up and took them into town, into that clearing. The trading went well, and when the moon rose over the treetops, the bonfire was lit, and the music began. She stepped into a corner of the clearing, her arms flapped, and she leapt through the air, and she saw her emerald-eyed boy from last year. She reached out her hand, but he shook his head and turned away. Over by the fire, the tall man with silver hair was watching. He turned to his friends, and they all laughed. She stopped dancing. When the next day broke, she was gathering her things, and the sound of whispers and laughter grew a little bit louder. And when she rose, she found a group of people, led by the tall man. He was standing in front, and he said, "You didn't do much dancing last night, did ya, bug girl?" Shame. Her heart pounded in her ears, and around the clearing, other people were packing up their things. And they were like pretending not to be there, like they couldn't see him or hear what he was saying. "What happened, bug girl? Did your wings break?" And all around, all the people behind him laughed, and she felt their laughter like blows against her body. And when she reached down to grab her things, she found her arms were scraped and bleeding. She picked up her things and she pushed her way through the crowd as they cried, "Bug girl! Bug girl! Dance for us, bug girl!" She pushed her way through and she went home as fast as she could. And when she set her things down, she found that her face was streaked with tears. Her arms and her legs were streaked with blood. She cleaned herself off and she lay down to go to sleep, and every inch hurt. Time passed. Time always passes. Bruises fade. Scabs turn into scars. And when the moon rose over the treetops on the night of the next fall feast, the bonfire was lit, and the music began, and her legs ached to dance, but her gut twisted, and she stood very, very still, until her green-eyed boy came up and he held out his hand. "Butterfly lady, will you dance with me?" And they laughed as they danced, they sang and they swayed, and she lost herself in the moment and in the movement until she realized that she was dancing alone. And the music had stopped, replaced by laughter, and all around the clearing, people stood. "Look at the bug girl! Look at her dance!" And she found her green-eyed boy, and he was laughing, and tears streamed down his face. She stumbled out of the clearing and found a tiny gap between two bushes, and she climbed in and she held very, very still and pretended that she wasn't there. But there, just there, under a leaf, a papery present, a secret surprise, 2 antennae, some spindly legs, and as she watched, the body and the wrinkled wings of a brand new butterfly, the last butterfly of summer, emerged. And in her joy, she forgot all of her bruises and she forgot the scrapes, and she cried out, oh, look! And footsteps thundered, and like a shot, a hand reached out and snatched the butterfly. It was the tall man. So what? This? A bug? Like you? No! Please! And as she watched, he squeezed his fingers together until the body of the butterfly burst. He tossed it to the ground. "You're next." She ran home as fast as she could. She slammed the door shut behind her, the echoes of their laughs chasing her the entire way. And she crumbled to the ground. I wish their words didn't hurt. And she curled up in a ball right there in the middle of the floor. And she wished that she wasn't there. The sun sank, and the moon rose, indifferent as stones, as the butterfly lady cried herself down to her bones. Time passed, flesh fell away, and dust settled like a cocoon. And when the day broke when the day of the next fall feast broke, the skeleton woman awoke. She shivered and shimmied. Her ribs and hips gyrated. Dust like smoke puffed and dust like silk poured. The desiccated remnants of muscles, fat and skin. Bruised and bleeding, no more. Now it took all day, but she was very patient. And inch by inch, the skeleton woman stood tall. Shafts of sunset gleamed her bones into jewels. No words could hurt her now. As the moon rose over the treetops on the night of the fall feast, the skeleton woman left her garden behind and brought not a single bloom with her to share. When the skeleton woman waltzed into the clearing that night, the bonfire was blazing and everyone was dancing, and as she passed one by one, they stopped. She heard their whispers behind her. But girl, she's alive. Revenge. She got to the center of the clearing. The bonfire shone right through her. And she said, revenge? Oh no, I'm not here for revenge. I'm not here to add more pain to this town. There's been quite enough of that already, don't you think? So no, I'm not here for revenge. I'm here for your children. And parents around the clearing reached blindly behind them for their kids, trying not to take their eyes off of her. You see, she said, children are born kind and loving. They're born to dance. And if I leave them here with you, you'll teach them to hate, to exclude, to look the other way. So, and she grinned a lipless grin, I'm taking them with me to where we will laugh as we dance, we'll sing and we'll sway. But, she said, and the bonfire behind her gleamed red as coals in her eye sockets, I'm not a monster. You can earn them back every year. As the moon rises over the treetops on the night of the fall feast, we'll return and we will feast with you. And the next morning, each child will choose. Will they return to the dance with me, or will they stay here with you? She found the eyes of the tall man around the clearing. He was standing with his arm around a woman with piercing green eyes, and her hand was on the shoulder of the emerald-eyed boy. I suggest that you learn to deserve them. Now, and she opened her arms like a hug, children, come dance. And her arms flapped, her legs went spindly. She leapt through the air, and as the skeleton woman danced, each of her bones burst into a cacophony of color, a fluttering of butterflies. And children around the clearing cried out in delight, butterfly lady, and they ran with their arms upstretched. And as the skeleton woman's butterflies landed on their arms and their faces, each child burst into their own kaleidoscope until the clearing was filled with a cloud of flickering color like a jewel box of flames. The last child left was the green-eyed boy. He watched the butterflies dance, and his legs ached to join them, but his gut twisted. He looked up at the tall man, his father. Then he shook off his mother's hand and ran into the rainbow cloud and disappeared. As one, the butterflies rose into the air and they danced away over the treetops. Time passed. Time always passes. The town died, as towns do when the youth go away. Now, some moved down south, but some stayed and decayed. but still, for decades, every year, when the day of the fall feast broke, they came home. And as the moon rose over the treetops, they would gather in that clearing, light the bonfire, and wait. And when the next day broke, the unlucky would go home alone. The lucky ones would go home holding the hands of their children. But the luckiest disappeared. Thank you.